Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zod. Anyways, man, I've been on mine just for the simple fact I had surgery on my mouth and it still hasn't really healed. I don't know if you can see, but it's still swollen right here. So I didn't want to come on here and give my haters any more energy as far as, you know, for them to be like, oh yeah, somebody probably punched him in his mouth. It's not happening. You will end your life on that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it ain't fair. But that's besides the point, man. So my mouth is still messed up. I will show you the stitches, but I don't know how they'll take it on YouTube. You know what I mean? But as far as that, the whole reason I chose to make this video was basically it was going to be a rebuttal to a lot of different comments that I got on my last video, which, you know, for the most part, they weren't too disrespectful. It's funny when, you know, somebody that's not black try to correct me on black, you know, on the merits and of blacks and I should be more knowledgeable of blacks, and not just blacks but just Africans in general, and that I lack some sort of knowledge of blacks because I'm from a Mexican gang. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Now, what somebody did say that I got it off the back is the people that I may have learned, not generally all my knowledge from, but you know, growing up with certain people that were a little bit more black militant, you know, and their train of thought is a lot different than people, you know, embracing, you know, everything, you know what I mean? So yeah, that part I could take, and some of them actually got at me in my DMs and just basically asked me if I ever wanted to, you know, have a real conversation on African tribes and what was contribute, which some of them parts I already know. I know what different countries gave, you know what I mean? But as far as like really just sit down and get the knowledge, and whether I run on that side or not, is still it's always good to be knowledgeable, and that's something that I fear the most, is not being able to not only, I won't say accept, but not being able to absorb knowledge. You know what I mean? Like that's always been my worst fear, and to this day it's like I'm always constantly trying to find something different to learn. You know what I mean? Especially if it's gonna benefit me in some way. Now, that's why I chose to like hold on my rebuttals, you know what I mean? Because it's no use to go at it with individuals that just will absolutely see things way different than I am. We will never see eye to eye, and it's just for certain reasons. Some people take it more personally because where I'm from, which should have absolutely no real bearing on, you know, the skin tone. Some people ask me, you know, why do I represent for Mexicanos harder than I rep for Panameños? Because I am Panam. I don't have to rep that hard. It's just, it's in me, you know what I'm saying? And everything else that comes along with that, you know? But that's besides the point. What I wanted to talk about, and it's something that's been going on for quite some time in Fresno, California. For a lot of people don't know, and for the people that may know, it is Central California. So the way they do things and the way they get down are a lot different than Southern California. Not to say that we're exempt or we don't do things that are just as grimy as them. It just means that they're a smaller city, and it's a boiling pot of everything. Everything's going right there. So it's like, you know what I mean, without getting into details. Now, my brother and them stay out there. My pop stay out there. You know, I stayed out there for a second, you know what I mean, which wasn't that long. But for the most part, Fresno has always been that city just waiting to blow. And right now, everybody's going at it. It's not even, it's so bad out there that just going outside, from what I hear, is people basically shooting at each other left and right. Women were getting killed. Females were getting killed left and right. And it wasn't even, people thought it was like a serial killer, but it turned out to just be like some gang shit. People were just catching bodies on people that didn't have absolutely nothing to do with nothing. They just felt like, you know, this is how they get it. Like in certain, you know, if you remember, in certain spots in the country, that's how people got initiated in, you know what I mean? They just go smoke somebody and that was earning their bones or whatever. You know, in California, that shit don't fly. Like it, or as far as like Southern California and further up north, you'd probably get got for that. But people understand Fresno is its own thing. They function on a whole different level, and it's just them. So, but that's not even the reason why I want to talk about it. It's just a simple fact that people automatically assume that it was blacks that were doing the crime. And I get it, because down here, you know, the eloteros and all them, they were being robbed by African Americans. But it's the same thing. Even before it had any concrete evidence, it was automatically this, and then you found out like in LA it was a homie and they beat him down. You know what I mean? Now, when it's all said and done, the two eloteros or whatever that were in Fresno, come to find out they've both been killed by their own people, bitch. Which, you know what I mean? It comes to no real surprise for anybody that's been involved in the game, but for the other people that have never really took part in it or are just looking for somebody to blame it, it was a hard pill to swallow. You know what I mean? And so far the sentiment is like, oh, we don't claim him. You don't have to claim him. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he did what he did, and his consequence will be his consequence. Now, people like to say, oh, when he goes to prison, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? People make these, try to throw everything in one boiling pot because of race. It's not like that. And when you go to prison, or if you ever go to prison or know people in prison, it's not like that. A Southerner is a Southerner, a Paisa is a Paisa. Yeah, some shit happen with the Paisa, sometimes homies a jump. And vice versa. But in a lot of places, they're over there, we're over here, and it's just the way it is. It don't matter. Mexicano, Salvadorian, Hondureño, like, it don't matter. A Southerner is a Southerner, and a Paisa is a Paisa, or others are other. It's just the way it is. So people, you know, on the internet pushing for, you know, certain things. Oh yeah, this dude's gonna get touched. You don't know what you're talking about. As long as dudes ain't doing drive-bys and scandalous things of that nature, and the thing is, most likely he ain't a Southerner, so it's like, you know, they decide to do what they want to him. You know what I mean? But I find it funny that people, that's the first thing they go to. You know what I mean? Like, you hate us, but yet when you're looking for somebody to be punished, oh well, fuck it, go to the gangsters. You know what I mean? They'll do it. It's not like that. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Now, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny how people point fingers, and now, you know, they find it a hard pill to swallow. Some people have, you know, went on these food pages and apologized just for jumping to conclusions. You got a lot of Hispanics that are like, man, you know, they're tired of hearing these comments of people being racially disrespected and for no reason. And then it's crazy because some of these profiles I went to, they're white. They're not Hispanic. They're not Mexicanos. They're just whites trolling in order to try to kick up something. And that's the thing. A lot of people feed into that. Oh yeah, you know, Los Angeles is known for kicking up dust in the surrounding counties because race is everything. Race has made everything because people have taught you that. Like I said, this whole video is not really to point out any particular individual as far as like the food pages, because you have so many of them that have popped up, and some of them rightfully do real journalistic work. You know what I mean? They have no ties to no gangs or nothing. They're just somebody that, you know, they use that platform in order to propel themselves, not even just to take themselves to the next level, because they're trying to be something greater than they are. You know what I mean? Trying to make something out of nothing. And a few of them are that I really like to watch. There's some of them I don't, because their whole thing is to cause chaos. And living in Los Angeles, the Valley, whatever, it's enough chaos out here. You know what I'm saying? We got enough to deal with without people trying to, you know, really kick up dust between two races that are always probably gonna go at it in some way or another. If it's not here, it's there. You know what I mean? But it's just funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny how people are so, you know, that just, it's so easy to fly out their mouth. And not the racist thing I've seen. You know what I mean? Some people are just bigots, plain and simple. But that I've seen. But it's just how people are so ready to point the finger at somebody solely based on race, and then try to blame somebody else for pointing the finger at them. At the end of the day, it's always going to be some sort of chaos. You know what I mean? It's always, and not even just chaos, just individuals that just really don't feel like they can get along with the next, and they handle their business. Some die, some still live, some rise up out of it and realize that your enemy is not really your enemy. You know what I mean? And that you all pretty much up against the wall, because when it comes down to it, we all in the same pot, all profiled, all, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, you being Mexicano is going to make it no difference than a black dude that's, you know, you can both be in Mercedes-Benz and still be profiled, you know what I mean? And that's not to incite anything. It's just saying, like, for people to suffer so much, we both was hanged, both beat, whipped, rejected out of certain spots. I mean, if you look at it, it's blacks, this, that, like they didn't want you in there. So when people come off and try to be all superior and, oh, we don't do this, you need to look at statistics the same way when I point out the blacks. Most of them killing each other, and it's just how it is in the inner cities. Hispanics, same thing, killing each other. When I grow up, fools are knocking each other down left and right. That was just the status quo. You know what I mean? If you banged and you had enemies you were killing, don't care. Fools had cousins and brothers from enemy hoods and kill them. It's just the way it is. So, like when I see these pages and people, you know, jump to conclusions without any real evidence on anything, it's just like, sit back for a second, allow things to unfold, pay attention. And if it comes out that it was black dudes that killed, you know what I mean, then it's like, and you feel like you want to do the cop's job, or you want to, then go out there and put it out there, you know what I mean? But for the most part, sometimes you just got to sit back and just really, you know, see the whole picture instead of making broad brush comments or with a broad stroke, you know what I mean, and just putting everybody in one bunch, because whatever took place down here with the eloteros is not taking place up there in Fresno. Fresno's a whole different spot, and for the people that live in Fresno, no, it's just grimy. And if you go out there with they clapping, you know what I mean, it's just, it is what it is. But that's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to talk to my subscribers, let them know that I'm back, you know what I mean. My shit is still like feeling weird because they're open, you know what I mean. They literally pulling and cutting, and you know what I mean. It's just like in case I want to get implants or something, you know what I mean. With shit right now, it's not even gonna happen. That's like, for each implant, it's like $2,500. So I'll probably pay like, yeah, I ain't got that. I ain't got that right now. But you know, you got to do what you do. You know what I mean? This shit right here was just cheap. Was a rack. You know what I mean? So, you know. Anyways, man, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I am recording off my camera. I'm hoping I can export this to my phone, because like I said, I don't have my laptop right now. With Christmas coming up, all the little excess money that you get has to go to designated spots. But with that being said, I got my shirts, I got my sweaters. You want them, get at me. Everything from 3X down, down to 2X, you know what I mean? but gray, black, white. Anyways, man, you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm your boy Zod, and hopefully I'll be able to talk better and I'll get at you.